Have all members recorded their attendance? The clerk will please lock the machine. There are 35 members present. There is a quorum. I call on Senator Goodwin. Senator Goodwin moves that last week's session on last Tuesday be adjourned. Seconded by Senator Algier. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Last Tuesday's session is now adjourned. The clerk will please unlock the machine. Senator Felag wants to be recorded as present. The clerk will please lock the machine. There are 35 members present. There is a quorum. I would ask all members to rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance to be led today by Senators V. Susan Sosnowski, representing the towns of New Shoreham and South Kingstown. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. We ask that you guide us, O Lord, in broadening our minds and extending ourselves in service to our constituents. May we better understand their concerns and needs and do our best to assist them. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first order of business is the reading of the previous day's journal. That's the Journal of April 13th.
State of Rhode Island, Journal of the Senate.
Senator Sosnowski.
Mr. President, I move that the further reading of the journal be dispensed with and the journal be accepted as printed.
Senator Sosnowski requests that further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that the journal be accepted as printed without objection. So ordered. Next order of business is committee reports and communications. We have a communication that to the President, please be advised and let the record reflect that I will be absent from the chamber on Tuesday, May 4th, 2020. I would appreciate your recording my letter in the appropriate Senate Journal. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, John P. Burke, Senate District Number 9. Please place it on file. Any committee reports? Okay. That brings us to new business. Our first item is by Senator Hannah M. Gallo, a Senate resolution proclaiming the week of May 3rd through May 7th of 2021 to be Teacher Appreciation Week in the state of Rhode Island.
Mr. President, could that please be read?
Senator Gallo requests that the resolution be read.
Senate resolution proclaiming the week of May 3rd through May 7th of 2021 to be Teacher Appreciation Week in the state of Rhode Island. Whereas every successful person in the Ocean State was a great measure of their achievement to the dedication and hard work of the teachers who inspired them to open their minds to the magic of ideas, knowledge, and dreams, and find the very best in themselves. And whereas learning is a process of discovery, teachers across this country utilize innovative and dynamic methods to inspire young people to be curious about the world around them, to explore ways to better understand their environment, and to develop the critical thinking skills necessary for their success as adults. And whereas cities and towns in Rhode Island employ approximately 10,000 full-time public school teachers and many more private school teachers, these professionals consistently demonstrate laudable commitment and competence through their willingness to provide the time, energy, talent, and ideas to ensure that Rhode Island's 143,557 students have the opportunity to fulfill all of their potential. And whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, consulting with parents, and performing community service, teachers also fill vital roles in the lives of many young people, often as listeners, role models, explorers, motivators, and mentors. And whereas teachers keep democracy alive and vibrant by laying the foundation for good citizenship, they display daily the value of public service. Their hard work and efforts are directly responsible for creating the leaders of tomorrow. And whereas many of us who are who we are because at least one teacher in the past ignited a spark within us, they touch and mold the lives of our children, and they have earned and truly deserve the gratitude and respect of students, parents, and community members throughout the state. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Senate of the State of Rhode Island hereby declares the week of May 3rd through May 7th of 2021 to be Teacher Appreciation Week in Rhode Island. We heartily thank all of Rhode Island's teachers for their tireless devotion in educating and developing our children. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be and she is hereby authorized and directed to transmit duly certified copies of this resolution to Francis J. Flynn, President of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers and Health Professionals, and Lawrence E. Pirtle, President of the National Education Association of Rhode Island.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Senator Gallo.
Thank you, Mr. President. This week we celebrate Teachers Appreciation Week, a week to recognize the critical importance of teachers and the deep and lasting impact that they have made on our lives. Just about all of us can think back to our years in school and recall teachers who made an unforgettable impression, those who worked hard to forge personal connections, who shared their infectious passion for what they taught, those that made us want to strive to do our own best. This year in particular, as teachers have returned to the classroom and bounced back and forth with virtual, hybrid, and in-person learning, they have had to learn new skills and strategies to keep students engaged against some tough odds. They have been flexible, creative, and compassionate toward the struggles of their students. As we all know, teachers do far more than educating. They are also mentors and de facto social workers, particularly this year and last, when so many students had contact with very few other adults. And they did this all while facing the struggles of the pandemic personally as well. It has been a very, very hard year for the profession. Today, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize all the teachers and all the school staff and to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for dedicating your lives to helping our young people prepare for the future. Thank you for pouring your heart and soul into those kids, often in far less than ideal conditions. I hope everyone will take a moment this week to reflect on teachers who have made an impact on their own lives or the lives of their children, and to reach out to those teachers in their lives to make sure that they know how they are appreciated. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Gallo moves passage of the resolution. Is there a second? Seconded by Leader McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Algier, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Mario, Senator Pearson, Senator Lawson, Senator Coleman, Senator Picard, Senator Anderson, Senator Mendes, Senator Miller, Senator Felag, Senator Chacon, Senator Lombardo, Senator Archibald, Senator Cano, Senator Bell, Senator Murray, Senator Golden, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator DePalmer, Senator Lawson, Senator Mack, Senator Costa, Senator Casada, Senator Coyne, Senator DePalmer, Senator Raptakis, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coleman, Senator Chacon. Discussion on the resolution. Hearing none, those in favor of the resolution, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The resolution passes. Next item on today's calendar is by Senator Bell, a Senate resolution celebrating the week of May 6th through May 12th as National Nurses Week in the state of Rhode Island. Senator Bell.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. May I have that read?
Senator Bell requests that the resolution be read. The clerk will please do so.
Senate resolution celebrating the week of May 6th through May 12th is National Nurses Week in the state of Rhode Island. Whereas National Nurses Week is a time to recognize and honor this year's theme, A Voice to Lead, a Vision for Future Healthcare, it is also a time to acknowledge and express our heartfelt gratitude to our state's brave, dedicated, and determined nurses who are and have been on the front lines day after day and month after month for more than a year, working to save the lives of our loved ones during the global COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas registered nurses in the United States constitute the nation's largest healthcare profession, and whereas the depth and breadth of the registered nursing profession has met and exceeded the different and emerging healthcare needs of the American population during this pandemic and in a wide range of settings. And whereas the American Nurses Association, as the voice for registered nurses across the country, is working to chart a new course for a healthy nation that relies on increasing delivery of primary and preventative health care and requiring better utilization of all of our nation's registered nursing resources. And whereas professional nursing has demonstrated itself to be an indispensable component in providing safety and quality of care for hospitalized patients and for playing a pivotal role in addressing the concerns and quelling community fears during the current pandemic. And whereas the demand for registered nursing services is greater than ever, due to the aging of the American population, the continuing expansion of life-sustaining technologies, the explosive growth of home health care services, and the need to develop coordinated networking to prevent and contain new and emergent widespread infectious diseases. And whereas more qualified registered nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of healthcare consumers in this country and across the world. And whereas the cost-effective, safe, and high-quality healthcare services provided by registered nurses will be an increasingly important component of the United States healthcare delivery system now and into the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Senate of the state of Rhode Island hereby joins the American Nurses Association in celebrating the week of May 6th through May 12th, 2021 as National Nurses Week. And be it further resolved that this Senate, moreover, urges all residents of the state to join in honoring and thanking the registered nurses who have selflessly cared for us all, and to celebrate their efforts and accomplishments in improving our healthcare system, not just during this week, but at every opportunity throughout the year. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be and she is hereby authorized and directed to transmit a duly certified copy of this resolution to the American Nurses Association, the United Nurses and Allied Professionals, and the Rhode Island State Nurses Association.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Senator Bell.
Thank you so much. Our nurses have been heroes for a very long time, but never more so than this past year, where they put their lives on the line, and many of them lost their lives to care for others during this incredible crisis. And it is so important that we remember the sacrifices they have made, we honor the sacrifices they have made, and that we go beyond words to action. So I'm so grateful for the legislation we've already passed to help our nurses, and I hope that we continue to work on helping out these really important workers throughout the rest of this session and many sessions to come.
Senator Bell moves passage of the resolution. Is there a second? Second by Leader McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Mendes, Senator Lombardo, Senator Anderson, Senator Miller, Senator Algier, Senator Archibald, Senator Felag, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Chacon, Senator Cano, Senator Raptakis, Senator Murray, Senator Golden, Senator Oyer, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator De Palma, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coleman, Senator Lawson, Senator Mack, Senator DeMario, Senator Costa, Senator Casada, Senator Picard, Senator Gallo, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny. Is there discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, those in favor of the resolution, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The resolution passes. Next order of business is the Senate consent calendar. Senator McCaffrey moves the consent calendar, seconded by Senator Algier. The clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members registered their vote? Clerk will please lock the machine. There are 35 votes in the affirmative, and none in the negative, and the consent calendar is adopted. That brings us to today's regular calendar. Item number 1 on today's calendar, Senate Bill 37, an act relating to Health and Safety Plastic Waste Reduction Act. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. This legislation would ban the use of single-use plastic bags, a ban that is currently held in place on a municipal level in the majority of our cities and towns, and this bill would bring that ban statewide. The Senate has passed this bill numerous times before, and I want to thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership and your commitment to getting this legislation done. I also want to recognize and thank Chair Sosnowski as the chair of the Environment and Agriculture Committee for a number of years. She really did the majority of work on getting the legislation to where it is today. That being said, I move passage.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a second? The chair moves the bill. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Gallo, Senator Miller, Senator Felag, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Lombardi, Senator Connell, Senator Bell, Senator Archibald, Senator DeMario, Senator Chacon, Senator Lombardo, Senator Mendes, Senator Anderson, Senator Felag, Senator Coleman, Senator Lawson, Senator Murray, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator 70, Senator DePalma, Senator Casada, Senator Coleman. Discussion on the act. Senator Dela Cruz on the act.
Thank you, Mr. President. I voted for this bill the first 2 years as a senator, as a freshman. And I voted for this bill because I feel that it's important to protect the environment, and all of the individuals that would talk to me would talk about how plastics are harmful to the environment, and indeed they are. And I recognize that this bill has good intentions, is the reason why I voted for it 2 years in a row. But I do have some concerns, which I will note here after doing some more studying. Just recently, I read an article put in by NPR, and it was published a couple of years ago, but the interview went something like this, and I'll read just a few excerpts of it. Trash bags are thick and use more plastic than the typical shopping bag. So, for example, I would always use those little trash bags from Target or Walmart as my trash bags. So having to discard those and using Glad bags, for example, they use more plastic. So she said, so about 30% of the plastics that was eliminated by the ban comes back in the form of thicker garbage bags. On top of that, cities that banned plastic bags saw a surge in the use of paper bags, which she estimates results in about 80 million pounds of extra paper trash per year. She cited several studies and said it's actually worse for the environment. I couldn't believe what I read. They require cutting down and processing trees, which involves lots of water, toxic chemicals, fuel, and heavy machinery. While paper is biodegradable and avoids some of the problems of plastic, Taylor says a huge increase of paper, together with the uptick of plastic trash bags, means banning plastic shopping bags increases greenhouse gas emissions. That said, these bans do reduce non-biodegradable litter. As I said, I voted for this 2 years in a row because I strongly believe that we need to be good stewards of the environment. So it is difficult for me to vote against this today. But in light of the new information that has come to me, I feel that I must. And lastly, I had a constituent reach out. He owns a small little grocery store in my district, and he said that he once used to pay 3 to 5 cents per bag in his store, and it now costs him 12 cents per bag. This will be an increased cost to him at $115,000 just for his business. Again, so well-meaning and well-intentioned, but I'm going to, out of an abundance of caution, have to vote, unfortunately, against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz. Further discussion? Chairwoman Oyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. As this bill has been discussed many times over the past few years, the topic of paper versus plastic has come up. The reality is that we need to move to a bring your own bag situation. That is the ideal. Plastic bags are used for about an average of 15 minutes and last for thousands of years. The same cannot be said for paper bags. And while the ideal alternative is for folks to bring their own, this legislation is really intended on addressing the scourge that plastic pollution is on our environment. It damages ecosystems, hurts wildlife, and destroys our marine life. So with that being said, I do urge my colleagues to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Further discussion on the act? Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members recorded their vote? The clerk will please lock the machine. There are 34 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and the act passes. Item number 2 on today's calendar is by Senator McCaffrey, Senate Bill 155, an act relating to food and drugs, single-use plastic straws. Mr. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this is a bill that's passed the Senate a number of times in the past, and what it would do is prohibit food service establishments from providing consumers with plastic straws. As you know, single-use plastic straws negatively impact our environment, and oftentimes these straws litter our shorelines and impact the wildlife. And Mr. President, I move passage of the bill.
Leader McCaffrey moves passage of the act. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Goodwin, Senator Gallo, Senator Miller, Senator Archibald, Senator Cano, Senator Paolino, Senator Valverde, Senator Murray, Senator Bell, Senator Oyer, Senator Coyne, Senator 70, Senator DePalma, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coleman, Senator Mack, Senator Mario, Senator Casada, Senator Gallo, Senator Lombardo, Senator Chacon, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Felag, Senator Anderson, and Senator Goodwin. On the act, Senator Bell.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I rise to second this legislation. I want to thank the sponsor, our Majority Leader, for all of his work on this. As some of you may remember, last year I voted against this legislation. There had been a compromise that I had received concerns from environmental advocates might have actually moved us backwards by locking in weaker standards statewide and preventing municipalities from enacting stronger language. I'm very glad that we're back to the sponsor's original language, which is the right language, and I'm very happy to second this legislation and vote to pass it today.
Thank you, Senator Bell. For the discussion on the act before us. Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded their vote, the clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Item number 3 on today's calendar is Senate Bill 706, an act relating to taxation, property subject to taxation exemptions. Chairman Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a bill in actually your name, Mr. President. And I want to just briefly introduce it to the members of the chamber, and we heard it in the Finance Committee. This bill would preserve the status quo from a taxation perspective upon LaSalle Academy. On behalf of both the President, Ruggiero, I've had the opportunity to obviously learn a lot more about this, but also talk with the city related to how this came about, and also hear a series of concerns from Senator Bell and some others that brought them to my attention. A few things I just want to let the members of the chamber know. The city had taken a step back and conducted a review of all of the schools in Providence to determine their tax status. After the city conducted that review, there's a standard exemption in state law that any school up to an acre is exempt. There are 11 schools in the city of Providence that are over the 1 acre of land, and the city did a review on those 11 schools. Of the 11 schools, 9 of the 11 previously had an act passed by this General Assembly exempting them from taxation, or they were otherwise exempt because of other sections of state law. There were 2 schools that were found not to have a tax exemption passed by us and that were over the acreage limits. One was LaSalle Academy, and the other one was a school by the name of Community Prep. These 2 institutions were impacted by this change. They had never been taxed before. This was a new tax bill that arrived after the city had done this review. And so this act was put in by the President at the request of LaSalle to keep their tax exemption status alive that they've had for well over 100 years. Other schools, just as that are included in this 11, included Dorcas Place, Groden Center, Moses Brown, the Paul Cuffey School, the Times 2 Academy, Wheeler School, etc. All already have this tax exemption status. This would allow LaSalle to keep their tax exempt status like every other school in the city of Providence, and certainly I support it, and I know that the president does as well. That being said, we did hear concerns, some raised by Senator Bell and others by the city, related to not wanting this to be a blanket tax exemption for not only property they own today, but any property they buy in the future. And I know Whip Goodwin had worked with us on this as well, around wanting to make sure that, I don't know, Whip Goodwin says they didn't buy half of Smith Hill or something, I don't know. Well, she, would buy it. And so we have been able to work out with the city an amendment that I would like to offer at this point in time, Mr. President.
Senator Pearson offers an amendment.
It is LC 002455/2.
As he said, it's LC 002455/2. Is there a second on the amendment? Leader McCaffrey seconds the amendment. Senator Goodwin, Senator Miller, Senator Chacon, Senator De Palma, Senator Casada. Discussion on the amendment. Senator Bell, are we on the amendment?
Yes, we are on the amendment.
Please proceed, Senator Bell.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Well, I do appreciate this concession, and those of you, as well as I want to thank the senators who worked hard to achieve this concession. And I support the amendment. I don't think it goes far enough towards addressing the concerns the people of Providence have had for a long time with special deals to exempt wealthy nonprofits from paying anything in taxes. I think it's an important concession. I don't think it goes far enough for me to support the legislation, although I do support the amendment.
Thank you, Senator Bell. Senator Chacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Chairman Pearson knows, I was one of the more vocal ones in the Senate Finance Committee based on the original bill. After discussion with the President and some other people, I am glad to see that the amendment was put in. And I agree with Senator Bell also. Providence is a city that has the most tax-exempt property in the state. With further discussion with the Senate President, I have asked that a commission be put together to study all the nonprofits within the city of Providence. So I think with the passage of this piece of legislation, which I will support, the amendment and the legislation, and a commission to be forthcoming, I think we will hopefully resolve some of the problems of the taxpayers within the city of Providence. And with that, I fully support the amendment and the legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Chacon. On the amendment, Senator Costa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise with mixed feelings. And so I think I need to be honest with my colleagues, folks watching at home, that in principle, I believe that all nonprofit entities should have tax exemptions for the properties on which they're on. And what this amounts to in practice is a subsidy. We, as the state, subsidize parts of these entities, right? It was a famous speech delivered by Senator Warren, who was able to articulate very clearly the way in which the not paying of taxes is supporting an organization, right? These institutions use our roads, they use our fire departments, our police departments, but they also contribute to the communities in which they're in. And so we say, hey, you know, we're gonna give you a break on particular parts. It's not so much a question of do we give the break or not, but how much we subsidize institutions. And so as we had conversations in committee, something that immediately jumped out to me was the different ways in which our state currently subsidizes private schools. Now, as I said before, I believe all their land should be tax exempt, which I think is somewhat controversial given the amendment that is proposed just now. That said, I believe that should be the limit to the amount in which the state formally subsidizes the operation of these institutions. And so I think it's important that we put back on the table the money that we're spending every year to subsidize the transportation and the textbooks for the students that go to these schools. And so right now, for my colleagues who are not familiar with these expenditures, the Transportational Categorical Fund.
State your point of order. Senator Lombardi, please.
I certainly don't mean to interrupt my colleague, but I think procedurally we are not appropriate. We did not move and second the bill initially before we can discuss the amendment, Mr. President. So I think to properly bring forth this debate, I think we first must move the motion, move the original bill, second it, and then bring the amendment forward.
Thank you, Senator Lombardi. I stand corrected. Let's go back to the original bill.
Stop, Mr. President.
Well, we haven't voted yet on the amendment, though, right? And I think this is...
No, but
Senator,
Senator,
Mr.
the bill itself was not...
Yeah, Mr. President, it's my error. With your permission, Mr. President, I'd like to move passage of Senate Bill 706.
Okay, yes, Senator Pearson, please withdraw your amendment right now. And we'll go back on. Senator Pearson moves to withdraw his amendment, seconded by Senator McCaffrey. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. We now have the original bill before us. Senator Pearson moves the bill. Is there a second on the original act? Seconded by Senator Gallo, Senator McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Chacon, Senator Archambault, Senator Palmer, Senator Felag, Senator Lombardo. Now we are on the original act. Would you like to offer your amendment at this time, Senator Pearson?
I would, Mr. President.
Senator Pearson offers the amendment. Is there a second on the amendment? Seconded by Senator McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Gallo, Senator Lombardo, Senator Chacon, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Miller, Senator Felag, Senator Paolino, Senator Archibald, Senator Bell, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator Palmer, Senator Coleman, Senator Casada, Senator Coyne. We are on the amendment. You still have the floor, Senator Acosta.
Thank you, Mr. President. And so we can agree, or maybe disagree, on the land tax exemption. But the other subsidy that I think goes under the radar is the transportational categorical funding and the textbook reimbursement program. Right now, we provide funding for transporting students to out-of-district non-public schools. And it's a pro rata reduction in reimbursements. So in fiscal year 20 and 21, we funded that at $3 million. The tax exemption we're talking about right now is $90,000, one school. We're spending $3 million a year to shuttle kids, in buses across our state who don't want to go to our public schools or who are exercising some other form of school choice. Now, in addition to that, we have a textbook reimbursement program that is historically funded at $240,000 a year. The average annual expenditures in the last pre-pandemic years were actually around $90,000, and in this last year was $57,000 because of the pandemic. We have great bills coming out of the Education Committee that could use this funding. We have a great bill on enrollment adjustment that could use $3 million in our state. And so I would be more than happy to support and encourage a uniform policy for tax-exempt status for nonprofit organizations. But I think that we need to seriously reconsider the other ways in which we are subsidizing private schools in our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Costa. I remind everyone that we are on the amendment. Senator Bell, for the second time.
Thank you so much. I have had a little bit more time to review this amendment, and while I still support the amendment, there are two words in the amendment, or three words, that I find concerning. And those are the words "or may be" at the end. What this means, and this is one of the concerns I've been worried about might happen with the amendment. There's some debate about which way it would go. What this means is that it is limited, it is not limited to the existing development on the existing land. So the current situation with LaSalle is that in addition to having a school and some fields and entities that have an educational use and educational purpose, they have been doing a large amount of land banking, and they own a lot of undeveloped land in addition to the school. And in my opinion, I think we should be careful about taxing land that has an actual educational purpose. But where it becomes pretty unambiguous is when we move off of the actual educational purposes into non-educational purposes. Land banking is one of those, but a more concerning one is when we start actually developing commercial property, housing, and things like that. This has been an issue with a particular wealthy university that has bought up enormous amounts of commercial property that is tax exempt. And the concern I have on the or maybe language is that effectively, were the current nonprofit to develop the existing land banked land, it would remain tax exempt, even were it to move into a commercial use or residential use. And I think this is particularly concerning in light of the, I guess it's now being called Metacomet golf course loophole that's being exploited on the Metacomet golf course in East Providence, where the development allowable under Rhode Island's open space zoning actually does allow a surprising amount of commercial and residential development. And because of the Metacomet golf course loophole, I am concerned that this would in fact continue to allow the conversion of existing land towards residential and commercial uses, continuing the tax exemption. And I do think that's unwise. I hope that in the future, were this bill to move in the House, there could be a technical correction that could address that concern. It's something I only noticed just on reading the amendments, why I didn't speak on it earlier.
Thank you, Senator Bell. Further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. President.
Senator Seveny.
Thanks, Mr. President. At that Senate Finance meeting, I was the other nay vote on this for a whole host of reasons, one of which has been, I think, adequately addressed tonight with this amendment. I just felt compelled to come up and acknowledge Senator Chacon. I think that is a great idea to have a commission look at all of this because in my humble opinion, I think we're just down the wrong path altogether. And we're now in a circumstance where we're going to treat one entity unfairly because of actions taken in the past. And I would love to be a part of that commission if you choose to select me to serve on it, Mr. President. And hats off to Senator Chacon. I think this is a great idea, and maybe we get to a more systemic solution on how we deal with all these questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator Seveny. Senator Dela Cruz. We are on the amendment.
Mr. President.
Further discussion on the amendment? Senator Pearson.
Mr. President, thank you. Just on the amendment for a moment, I appreciate the comments that were made, and I do want to go back to address the point that Senator Chacon made when we go to the regular bill. But just on the amendment itself, the language that we have in the amendment is an exact mirror to every other tax exemption we have in the books in this section of law. They all reference plot and lot in exactly the same way. And I just want to make that point. And so I ask the colleagues to support this amendment.
Thank you, Senator Pearson. Further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded their vote, the clerk will lock the machine. There are 35 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the amendment passes. Senator Pearson moves the act as amended. Seconded by Senator Archibald, Senator Feelike, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Chacon, Senator Palmer, Senator Paolino, Senator McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator Gallo. Discussion on the act as amended. Senator Bell.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I rise in opposition to this act as amended. And when this first came up last year, I held a community meeting on this. And I knocked on doors in the area around LaSalle, listened to constituents, and the opposition was truly overwhelming. That time did not move forwards last year. It was posted for a vote in the House, and as a result of opposition, was pulled and didn't move. What I heard overwhelmingly from constituents were a couple of things. One, there was deep abiding concern with the finances of the city of Providence. And this is a concern, I believe, or hope that we all share. I know a concern the President shares. And part of the one of the core issues, and there are many challenges for the city of Providence, but one of the core issues is the fact that a huge percentage of the city's property is owned by nonprofits that are exempt from paying taxes. And in many cases, they are exempt from paying taxes on land that goes beyond the original nonprofit purpose, including land bank land, which is what is at issue here, and commercial property, and residential properties. And that hurts the city budget. But with the colleges and universities, there is at least pilot reimbursement. That does not take place with high schools. Many high schools around the state used to pay the excess land tax, and many still do. We've had an increasing pattern of one-off exemptions. Another concern I heard from constituents was that we aren't doing a standardized policy. This is a special deal. Special deals are not the right way to do things. And now, if there is a defense for the special deal process that we currently have, it is that it becomes a local deference. That we only move forwards when we have a council resolution, which there is none in this case, and support from the local rep who opposes it, and the local senator, who is me, who also opposes it. In those conditions, we normally do not move forwards with legislation such as this. If there is a reason for the one-off deal, special deal approach, it would be that. It is my belief that, as Senator Chacon, or Chairman Chacon mentioned, we need a comprehensive approach here. It's wrong to do a single one-off deal for one wealthy nonprofit, has a large endowment, enormous amount of land bank land, to exempt them from taxation. Currently, all they're taxed on is the excess land that they are using for land banking, not improved land, just the excess land. Only being taxed on a little over $3 million out of more than $58 million in assessed value. And so we have also the bigger picture. People in Providence have for a long time been crying out for us to move much further in the direction of taxation of wealthier nonprofits. To move in the direction that essentially all non-nonprofit uses will be taxed. Commercial property, taxed. Residential uses, taxed. That nonprofits will be limited to exemptions on their nonprofit uses. This moves us in the wrong direction. And that was an overwhelming concern I heard from constituents. We should not be moving in the wrong direction here. And if we do want to create a policy that we exempt nonprofits, and we want to treat everyone equally and want to exempt every single high school from taxation, no matter how much land they own that is not being used for educational purposes, if that's our public policy goal, then at the very minimum, we should apply the pilot reimbursement money to make sure that municipalities are reimbursed for the land that's being taken off the tax rolls. This legislation is something that matters a lot to the people of Providence. There is quite overwhelming opposition. I don't think it's a good bill for us to be moving forwards with, and I really cannot support it. And the final thing I'd like to add is a little bit about process. You know, I'm hopeful that when we address these concerns in the future, there can be a level of minimum collegiality with the local senator. that includes, at a minimum, holding a commitment to have a meeting to discuss a local bill, local to a senator's district. I think it's a reasonable commitment to expect to be honored. And I think going forwards, it would be good practice for us to have dialogue whenever there are bills that affect a particular senator's district.
Thank you, Senator Bell. Further discussion on the act? Senator Mack, your light is lit.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to, thank and applaud Senator Acosta for bringing up some of the other numbers that are kind of being lost in this conversation. I've gotten a lot of emails from constituents about whether or not to support this legislation. And last night in the Senate Finance Committee, we heard dozens of people speak about taxing the wealthiest Rhode Islanders. We are talking about $90,000 on a private school. Like Senator Acosta said, nonprofits in an ideal world would not have to bear the brunt of our tax burden because we are taxing the wealthiest Rhode Islanders. Right now, Rhode Island is not currently collecting taxes from 5,000 Rhode Islanders who in 1 year would give us $75 million towards our education, our roads, our bridges. And if we even just tax the richest 150 Rhode Islanders, we'd have over $86 million per year. Right now, we're talking about $90,000, and I think it is really blinding us from the actual policy that we need to be focusing on in the middle of a global pandemic to make sure that we are taxing 5 cents on every dollar earned over $475,000 to make sure that we can afford our education, our roads, and other infrastructure. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Senator Mack. Further discussion on the act as amended?
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Senator Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to briefly just recap on a few items here. I 100% understand some of the arguments that have been made, and I think that's why we worked on this amendment, and I want to thank Senator Chacon for bringing forward the idea to address this as a holistic issue on all nonprofits, because that's really where the meat of this issue is. I mean, just to give a sense to the members, this one specific bill, as Senator Mack just mentioned, is about $98,000. To put that in perspective, that is 0.027% of the levy in the city of Providence. And we do have to have a standardized policy. And our standardized policy at this point is that all of these schools are tax exempt. I heard something there about a special deal. To not do this for LaSalle would be a special treatment of LaSalle that is different from every other institution in the city of Providence. And we need to be consistent. That does not mean that there isn't a broader issue around nonprofits and what we decide to do that, but we need to treat them equally and we need to treat them fairly. And all this bill seeks to do is treat LaSalle like every other institution that operates in the city of Providence. And I think that the way to handle this issue will be to treat LaSalle that way and certainly come back and have a broader conversation as Senator Chacon suggested. And I want to thank Senator Chacon for leading that as well, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator De La Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I support this exemption. I hear the fairness argument, and I believe, we should apply the law equally and fairly, and that means that nonprofits and religious institutions should continue to receive these exemptions. Religious institutions such as LaSalle Academy provide crucial social services, education, and other religious institutions have provided crucial services and throughout the country. And these exemptions have not turned America into a theocracy. So I also don't think it's fair to single out LaSalle Academy simply because they're successful and they're located in Providence. Providence's mismanagement is not the fault of LaSalle Academy, and they should not bear the brunt of the poor decisions of the Providence City Council members on this institution. It's unfair, it's unjust, and I think that we should all consider that when voting for this. If we open the door to taxing LaSalle, we open the door for it to happen to other religious institutions as well. The little Baptist school in Burrillville or any other community that we have, we're setting a dangerous precedent. And so we shouldn't single out, again, the school simply because of their location or because of their success. In 2011, a new mayor of Providence took office in the middle of a fiscal year. He knew the city finances were troubled, but it was not until an advisory team discovered a structural deficit of $110 million that he declared a fiscal crisis and labeled it a Category 5 hurricane. That mayor's predecessor announced, "The city is in excellent financial condition," a claim that was disproved when he left the mayor's office. The predecessors later said, "I'm sorry for anything I did that may have contributed to Providence's fiscal crisis." One of my problems with the argument against this tax exemption is that no one seems to be talking about is who caused this Category 5 hurricane. It was the leaders of the city who forgot about the children. This is one of the many reasons I do not support the moratorium on the charter schools. That was a topic for a different day in this chamber, but it does make me wonder how some folks can argue that what we need is more money for our schools by taxing entities that should be exempt, and at the same time be against improving outcomes for children with the charter schools, especially after the Johns Hopkins scathing report that we all agree was incredibly heartbreaking for Providence children. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Bell, for the second time, we are on the act as amended.
Thank you so much. I wasn't going to get up again. I just wanted to quickly address one of the factual inaccuracies in Finance Chairman's comments. This really is specific to one particular institution. This legislation does not exempt all schools. As the chairman noted, even within just the city of Providence, there is another school that the city had forgotten to apply the tax bill to. They had noticed. It is my belief that there are others. In particular, it is my belief that the legal argument extending the Brown University exemption to Moses Brown is thin and probably incorrect, which is, I believe, the legal basis on which Moses Brown has been exempt. And I think that there are probably other institutions outside the city of Providence. I know we've passed some exemptions for some in the past. I believe there are others that do not yet have such an exemption. So it is not a uniform bill. It is specific to one particular institution. I do think it is important just to clarify that one specific point.
Thank you, Senator Bell. Senator Mendes.
Thank you, Senate President. I didn't intend to speak, but I wanted to just share that my reason for voting against this is because of who I'm accountable to. I appreciate the perspective of the chairman and my colleagues on this, but I'm essentially accountable to my constituents. And I remember distinctly, not too long ago, knocking on doors and talking to people in my district who were beside themselves when they found out my predecessor had given a tax giveaway to Providence Country Day. And realizing that families in our community were struggling with their property taxes and never given a break, never considering, and didn't really feel like they had a voice and someone fighting for them in the Senate. But yet, special groups, special schools, special interests get these tax breaks and giveaways. And we can put it in any frame that we'd like. We could call it consistency, but consistently doing something wrong is not a good excuse to continue doing it. And giving tax breaks to schools while putting the burden on property owners to pick up that tax burden and then complain that the schools are suffering is hypocritical, and I'm really getting tired of seeing the hypocrisy, and particularly putting the burden on struggling working families that are already just trying to make ends meet and pay their taxes. It's unfair, not right, and these are not the people that deserve the tax breaks.
Thank you, Senator Mendes.
Mr. President.
Further discussion on the act.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chairman Pearson.
Thank you. I just wanted to briefly wrap up on this conversation here, and I take the point that Senator Bell made. This is a bill about LaSalle. That's true. My comments were related to that. To not do this bill for LaSalle would be to treat LaSalle differently than every other institution. We have passed bills for other institutions that are having the same tax exempt status. This would again make them conform to everywhere else. There's a long list of tax exempt institutions. I know Senator Bell mentioned Brown as the biggest one. And so we were well aware of this. We will be taking a look at the broader nonprofit taxation issue, but again, to treat LaSalle any differently than any institution is certainly not fair to LaSalle and would make it an inconsistency. In relation to there are others. I want the members of the chamber to know that all of the information that I've used today I've received directly from the city through the tax assessor's office and the city through direct conversations. I've spoken to the city via the mayor's office, and the city is in support of this with this amendment, and we're using 100% factual information that we're using here on the floor today. So with that, Mr. President, I ask my colleagues to support, and I move the bill.
Thank you, Chairman Pearson. Senator Dela Cruz, for the second time on the act as amended.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to echo some of the statements by Senator Pearson. He made an excellent point that we need to treat all nonprofits equally. What's being suggested by taxing by allowing taxation of LaSalle Academy what's being suggested is codifying unequal treatment and discrimination against the parochial school, and at that, a religious one. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz. Further discussion on the act as amended. The clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded their vote, the clerk will lock the machine. There were 28 votes in the affirmative, 8 in the negative, and the act as amended passes. Item number 4 on today's calendar is by Senator Miller, Senate Bill 305, an act relating to health and safety, alcoholism. Chairman Miller.
I don't believe this will take as long as the previous item. I want to give some context to why I introduced this legislation. Pre-pandemic, me and Representative Casey, and if some of you know him, you know he's a firefighter in the city of Woonsocket, and as a firefighter working on a rescue, he's been encountered and involved in many situations that led to commitment or involuntary commitment of somebody who was either mentally ill, highly inebriated, or suffering from a substance use disorder. We worked for a long time in trying to come up with reforms for the involuntary commitment and hospitalization statutes. And it was virtually, we will get to that someday, but there's an obstacle. And the obstacle is the current language around the existing statute on emergency commitment and drug intoxication. You can tell by the title. We rarely use the term intoxication. Almost all of the language is over 40 years old and has not been changed since then. It does not anywhere in the current language use substance use disorder, behavioral health. It has hospitalization options that no longer exist. So it's ripe for reform, and so the proposed the legislation requires BHDDH to coordinate with the Department of Health to propose revisions to the alcoholism and emergency commitment for drug intoxication chapters of current law, and the revisions must include but not be limited to updates or revisions to statutory language definitions and evidence-based practice. I move passage.
Chairman Miller moves passage of the act. Seconded by Senator Goodwin, Senator Gallo, Senator Felix, Senator McCaffrey, Senator Cano, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Chacon, Senator Mario, Senator Lombardi, Senator Lawson, Senator Casada, Senator Acosta, Senator Murray, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator Archibald, Senator Mendes, Senator De Palmer, Senator Cano. Is there discussion on the act before us? Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members recorded their vote? The clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Next item is by Senator Casada, Senate Bill 484, an act relating to human services, medical assistance, perinatal doula services. Senator Casada.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very happy to pass this bill to be able to bring this bill to the floor today. This is not the first time we do this bill on the Senate side, but I wanted to take the moment to say thank you to the leadership that always put this bill together. Thank you to Chairman Miller and the Committee of Health and Human Service for always believing in this legislation. Thank you to all the doula advocates who worked so hard to put this bill together. Thank you to Representative Kesar, who worked very hard with all the doula advocating for this legislation this year. A few years ago, when somebody came to me and asked what doula was, I didn't have no idea what doula was. But today, after I've been putting this bill for the last 3-4 years, I know what doula is. Doula is a trained professional providing continued physical, emotional, and information support to pregnant individuals throughout pregnancy and up to 12 months of postpartum periods. This bill defines a doula scope of practice, establish a statewide doula register, and require Medicaid and private insurance to cover doula service. Private insurance and Medicaid managed care organization will be required to report utilization and cost information related to doula service to the Office of the Health Insurance Commissioner and to the Executive Office of the Health and Human Service. The fact is, in the United States, maternal mortality rates are almost the highest in the developed world. In 2018, the Center of Disease, the CDC, reported 17.4% maternal death per 1,000 live births. Yearly, 700 women die during pregnancy and the year after birth. Additionally, they are started raising disparately maternal mortality in the United States. Black women are more likely, 3 times and 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. In Rhode Island, between 2014 and 2018, the black infant mortality rate was 10.6% per 1,000 live births. The white infant mortality was 3.3% in 1,000 live births. By delivering culturally appropriate and patient-centered care, doula has emerged as a key method of addressing racial disparity in maternity, infant mortality, and support. Support for doula during the labor and delivering associated with improved health outcome for mothers and baby. Benefit from doula support include short labor, reduction of pain medication, lower cesarean, rate of healthy birth babies, and increased likelihood of breastfeeding. Oregon, Indiana, Minnesota, and Nebraska have passed legislation allowing Medicaid coverage for doula support. I remember when I was a little kid in the Dominican Republic, we had many doulas in our life. Our grandparents, our mom, who was there for you when you had a baby. I remember that when a woman had a baby, for 40 days, people go and clean the house, make sure she was safe, she was eating well, she was able to sleep, and take care of the baby for the mom to relax. Unfortunately, because the kind of life we live in the United States, it's hard for women to have that support around them. Your parents don't live close, or many times your parents stay in their countries. Then in the United States, it's more important than ever to have the doula service. I'm very happy to pass this legislation today, and thank you again for the support. With that, I will pass it.
Senator Casada moves passage of Senate Bill 484, seconded by Senator Miller, Senator Gallo, Senator McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Anderson, Senator Chacon, Senator Felix, Senator Sosnowski, Senator DeMario, Senator Acosta, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coleman, Senator Lawson, Senator Mack, Senator Paolino, Senator Archibald, Senator Cano, Senator Bell, Senator Coyne, Senator 70, Senator Palmer, Senator Murray, Senator Golden, Senator Oyer, Senator Mendes, Senator Gallo, Senator Lombardo, Senator Miller, Senator Coleman, Senator Lawson, Senator Valverde. Discussion on the act before us. Senator Mendes.
Thank you, Senate President, and thank you, Senator Casada, for this amazing piece of legislation. I did want to come up and just thank you and also praise the work of the coalition that made this happen, and Rep. Kassar, who made this piece of legislation happen as well. This is a piece of legislation that's near and dear to me, and I've been in communication with several doulas, and I'd like to share a couple of things that they had related to me. One doula, Emerald Ortiz, said, some of the benefits of a doula are childbirth education for folks who wouldn't otherwise have the culturally competent, evidence-based, non-judgmental support. I am also one of the consistent, confident forms of pregnancy coaching and through the entire birth process, in the entire experience and postpartum, answering questions, advocating, help preparing for birth and postpartum period. I usually also connect folks with resources that they would otherwise not know about, professionals like lactation counselors. I've built relationships to help support in the community that would be there for a lifetime. Having someone who looks like you, understands things like diet and culture, as well as not linked to any government organization, and giving me the credibility and the rapport with folks because I am hired and trusted and supported and informed. It's mainly about trust and being cared for by another BIPOC woman, and this is an invaluable resource. This bill, this doula bill, is the best doula bill in the country, and we should applaud ourselves for that and the work that it took to get here. I don't know if anyone here has ever had the experience of not being heard in the time of help, or not being understood, or when you were feeling most vulnerable. But women, when they're going through the birthing experience, and particularly women of color, and knowing that experience and how they may be overlooked and ignored in expressing pain or discomfort, or being unsure about how to advocate for themselves in culturally diverse situations, this piece of legislation empowers them to have an advocate in their corner and make sure that doulas are paid appropriately. Doulas are different than midwives. They are not the same. And currently, until this piece of legislation is passed and becomes law, doulas are under-resourced, under-supported, and under-recognized, and I am very, very proud that Rhode Island will be leading the way in making that happen.
Thank you, Senator. Further discussion on the act? Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members recorded their vote? Clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Next item on today's calendar is by Senator Coyne. Senate Bill 651, an act relating to health and safety, the Breast Cancer Act. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill would allow individuals to be sent breast cancer screening results by mail, electronically, or otherwise. The bill is intended to clarify and clean up current law, and I move passage.
Chairwoman Coyne moves passage of the act. Is there a second? Second by Leader McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Gallo, Senator Anderson, Senator Miller, Senator Felag, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Archibald, Senator Cano, Senator Chacon, Senator Lombardo, Senator Acosta, Senator Casada, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coleman, Senator Lawson, Senator Mack, Senator Murray, Senator Valverde, Senator 70, Senator Palmer, Senator Cano, Senator DeMario. Discussion on the act, Senator Dela Cruz. Okay. Discussion on the act. Clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members recorded their vote? The clerk will lock the machine. There were 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Next item on today's calendar, item number 7 by Senator Goodwin. Senate Bill 713, enacting health and safety, Office of State Medical Examiners. Madam Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. This measure would simply remove the sunset provision. This was an act that we enacted in 2018. It would require the medical examiner's office to record and submit to us the amount of overdose deaths here in the state. Good piece of legislation, and I move its passage.
Rep. Goodwin moves passage of the act, seconded by Leader McCaffrey, Senator Gallo, Senator Miller, Senator Lombardo, Senator Chacon, Senator DeMario, Senator Acosta, Senator Coleman, Senator Casada, Senator Lombardi, Senator Lawson, Senator Miller, Senator Anderson, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Archibald, Senator Cano, Senator Murray, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator 70, Senator Palmer. On the act, is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded their vote, the clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Next item is by Senator Miller. Senate Bill 65 sub A, enacting the Food and Drugs Uniform Controlled Substances Act, offenses and penalties. Chairman Miller.
Yes, this act would exclude the possession of buprenorphine, also known as Suboxone, from the controlled substances that can result in criminal penalties. Buprenorphine is used to treat dependence addiction to opioids, and it belongs in a class of drugs called mixed opioid agonist antagonists. This bill is a priority, as many of you know. I'm on the governor's task force for overdose prevention, and this legislation is a priority of many of those who sit on and attend those meetings monthly. It's still consistently, even through the pandemic, having over 100 attendees monthly. Besides what is obvious about this, it is used to help prevent withdrawal systems caused by stopping many opioids, and is used as a often and most effective use of medication-assisted treatment. And many of the Suboxone centers, another reason for the urgency of passage of this type of legislation, accept cash only for copays, and also to those who are the uninsured, and will often refuse to dispense the drug to those who don't have cash at that moment. And therefore, it is a drug that is in the illicit market to those who are trying to stay off of the substances. For that and other reasons, I move passage.
Chairman Miller moves the act, as seconded by Senator DePalma, Senator Archibald, Senator McCaffrey, Senator Gallo, Senator Felix, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Chacon, Senator DeMario, Senator Acosta, Senator Coleman, Senator Lawson, Senator Goodwin, Senator Bell, Senator Cano, Senator Murray, Senator Golden, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator 70, Senator Mendes, Senator Casada, Senator Valverde. Discussion on the act. Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded their vote, the clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Next act is by Senator Archibald. Senate Bill 318 sub A, enacting on motor and other vehicles passing, use of lanes, and rules of the road. Senator Archibald.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this bill seeks to address issues that occur nationally and here in Rhode Island, dealing with injury, accidents, and fatalities for people who are defined as vulnerable road users. And those people include bicyclists, police officers, emergency workers, either working inside or outside the vehicle, a highway worker performing duties, persons driving in wheelchairs, motorized or not, those using skateboards, inline skates, roller skates, and anyone riding on an animal, either driving an animal or riding on an animal, and even includes people on scooters. And the intent of the bill is to ensure that if for whatever reason, sadly, someone is injured in one of those categories, that there's a scale of fines that are added to the penalties. And for the first violation, it's a $200 fine if the collision results in a bodily injury. Second violation, it's a $500 fine, and for the third, and up to including death, it's a $1,000 fine. And the idea is to create a disincentive for people to actually operate recklessly. It follows a model that's been placed in other states, and I'd move passage.
Senator Archibald moves passage of the act. Seconded by Senator McCaffrey, Senator Gallo, Senator Lombardo, Senator Ciccone, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Mario, Senator Lombardi, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator De Palma, Senator Cano, Senator Bell, Senator Felag, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator Lombardo, Senator Murray. Discussion on the act. Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, I rise in very strong support of this. This bill would close a loophole for vulnerable road users, as Senator Archibald described, but I wanted to note that it is the top priority of some of the bike and pedestrian groups that are advocating in the state, because right now when you hit a bicyclist, there is a loophole, and this bill would close that loophole. And if we are having serious discussions about how to make our streets safer and more inclusive, then protecting vulnerable road users is a top priority. So I ask for my colleagues' support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Coleman. Further discussion on the act. Senator De La Cruz.
I do have a question. I don't know who to direct it to, Mr. President. But I would like to know what this loophole is. Is it perfectly legal to hit a bicyclist and walk away scot-free?
Do you have a question for the sponsor, Senator?
If he will yield, yes.
Will you yield to a question, Senator Archibald? Yes. Please proceed, Senator De La Cruz.
The question is, I'd like to know what the loophole is. It sounds as though you can hit a pedestrian or a bicyclist or maybe someone on a motorized scooter, and it would not, currently as the law stands, it's not, you can't be fined for it?
I believe Senator Archibald will endeavor to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. I certainly will endeavor to explain, and if I'm not entirely accurate, I'd invite Senator Coleman up to amplify on it. But the way the statute works now, Senator, there's an absence of the word bicyclist in there or other people that are users of the road. They're not clearly defined. So actually, it's been, I think, 3 years now I've been meeting with this group that has sought to get what they call vulnerable road users defined. And it's really been driven by people who have been, as Senator Coleman amplified on, bicyclists. But then it includes other categories as well. And right now, that's not clearly defined in statute. So there's two concepts that dovetail together. One is just general negligence, right? If you hit somebody in a negligent fashion, clearly there's a remedy at civil law to bring some type of suit against that individual for damages. But within the statute that defines civil penalties and or criminal penalties, there's an absence of bicyclists. So I'm trying to answer you in perhaps a compound fashion, but in the most simplest fashion, no, it's not okay to hit somebody on a bicycle. I know you were being somewhat flip about it so that it will be addressed, but it's not okay to hit somebody, but the statute wasn't as specific as it could be. And this group's actually, as Senator Coleman said, elated that this bill has finally made it to this point and it's gotten the attention it should. And the hope is that it's going to create a disincentive or, you know, there's a common law doctrine called maintain a lookout. And if you hit somebody in a car, either a car accident or a bicyclist, that's called failure to maintain a lookout. It's an old common law doctrine that's taught in law school, and it's part of general negligence. This law is designed to heighten that. You got to have a lookout. You got to be careful when you're driving around vulnerable road users. People in motor vehicles don't have the right of way. Just like in Rhode Island, if you're going to be in a crosswalk, you have to yield to the person in the crosswalk. Can't tell you how many times I've been stop and shop. I'm going to go across the crosswalk. Here's some idiot driving through, and I've got to jump out of the way in the crosswalk. This is designed to heighten the attention that people should have towards the statute. I hope that answers the question. Please.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz, and thank you, Senator Archibald. Further question? Senator Ratakis.
Thank you, Mr. President. If the sponsor yield to a question?
Will the sponsor yield to a question? I believe he will, Senator.
That's a great question, Mr. President. Yes.
Senator Archibald, should this be under the statute if a vehicle, I'm not sure what the statute is, if a vehicle hits a pedestrian, regardless if they're on a bicycle, do we have penalties, or should have this been added to maybe the case of a vehicle striking somebody walking, defined maybe as the same thing as if they're riding a bicycle? I'm not sure if we're creating something less of a penalty by putting it in a separate, or creating a new statute, or just maybe we should have added this type of collision into what we already have in law to make it even stricter or tougher. I'm not sure what this group, what the aim was, but I just would have added onto the pedestrian statute.
Senator, could you please go to the mic so the TV can pick up on your answer, please?
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will endeavor to answer that question in the spirit of responding to a man I affectionately call Maximum Lou. Perhaps, and I say that affectionately, perhaps the enhancement should lie in a second revisiting of this to codify that in that extra statute that you've so aptly pointed out. But I think this is a step in the right direction, and then that's some good work next session, Maximum Lou. I'll join with Senator Coleman and you, and we'll get that going. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Archibald. Further questions on this act? The clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members recorded their vote? Have all members recorded their vote? Senator Connor, would you like to be recorded in the affirmative? The clerk will lock the machine. There are 35 votes in the affirmative, 36 with Senator Connor, and none in the negative, and the act passes. Next item is by Senator McCaffrey, Senate Bill 518. An act relating to criminal offenses, general provisions. Mr. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. This act was originally part of the Justice Reinvestment Package and has previously passed the Senate. What it would do is define felony, misdemeanor, and petty misdemeanor in more detail. And Mr. President, I move passage of the bill, and at the appropriate time, Senator Acosta has an amendment.
Leader McCaffrey moves the bill before us, seconded by Senator Goodland, Senator Gallo, Senator Lombardo, Senator Ciccone, Senator Sosnowski, Senator DeMario, Senator Lombardi, Senator Acosta, Senator Casada, Senator Archibald, Senator Connell, Senator Bell, Senator Murray, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator De Palma, Senator Felag, Senator Anderson, Senator Valverde. Senator McCaffrey has an amendment. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Costa has an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Costa, would you like to explain tell us the LC code and please explain the amendment?
Yes, Mr. President. So I'd like to move amendment LC 002304-2.
Senator Costa moves LC 002304/2. Please proceed. Is there a second? Seconded by Leader McCaffrey, Senator Ciccone, Senator Casada, Senator Archibald, Senator DeMario, Senator Mendes, Senator Coyne, Senator Anderson, Senator Bell, Senator Miller, Senator Casada. On the amendment, please proceed, Senator Acosta.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd like to thank the leader for his bill and for the opportunity to merge a bill that is in a similar spirit. So the present bill, S518, is about clarifying how crimes are classified. I had a separate bill, SB 118, that clarified the amount of time that one could be sentenced for a misdemeanor. So this bill is actually quite simple. What it does is it clarifies 1 year to 364 days. The bill itself, the original bill, had the support of 8 of my colleagues. It's in line with what some other states have done, most notably California, Washington, Nevada, and New York. It addresses a one-day overlap of misdemeanor sentencing and federal immigration regulations aimed at crimes that are really involving moral turpitude for when a sentence of 1 year or longer may be imposed. So what we're trying to do is disentangle these harsher punishments from being classified along federal guidelines. And so what this bill, what this amendment, excuse me, would simply do is reclassify 1 year to mean 364 days. And with that, I move passage of the amendment.
Thank you, Senator Costa. The amendment, I believe, has been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendment. Senator Archibald.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to rise to commend Senator Acosta on this amendment. I'm an attorney, I do a lot of prosecution, but I also do a lot of criminal defense work, and I have countless cases that I could tell you about from personal experience, having been my own clients, and then prosecuting, having people trying to work within a system to find a remedy to a final resolution in a case that is just and all sides would agree on and the judge would accept, but they're trapped because the statute in law says 1 year, which is 365 days. So you don't have the flexibility to work out a remedy that may keep someone from being short of the clutches of deportation and still assuage all of the legal concerns that people may have had in the case, and this bill will do that. I frankly wish it had been law 20 years ago, so I commend you for it.
Thank you, Senator Archibald. Further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have voted, the clerk will lock the machine. There are 35 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the amendment passes. Leader McCaffrey moves the act as amended. Is there a second? Second by Senator Lombardi. Senator Goodwin, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Chacon, Senator Miller, Senator Acosta, Senator Casada, Senator Mack, Senator Coleman, Senator Anderson, Senator Archibald, Senator Connell, Senator Bell, Senator Felag, Senator Murray, Senator Oyer, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator De Palma, Senator DeMario, and Senator Acosta. Discussion on the act is amended. Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded their vote, the clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act as amended passes. Next item on today's calendar is by Senator Oyer. Senate Bill 676, an act relating to motor and other vehicles, responsibility of owners of rental vehicles. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. This act would provide that violations of Chapter 34 of Title 31 pertaining to rental vehicles are civil violations, moving them away from being misdemeanors. I introduce this on behalf of the Rhode Island Judiciary, and I move passage.
Senator Oyer moves passage of the act. Seconded by Leader McCaffrey, Whip Goodwin, Senator Chacon, Senator Felag, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Lawson, Senator Casada, Senator Lombardi, Senator Cano, Senator Archibald, Senator Murray, Senator Valverde, Senator Coyne, Senator Seveny, Senator Gallo, Senator DeMario, Senator Bell. Discussion on the act. Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. Have all members recorded their vote? Clerk will lock the machine. There are 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. Item number 12 on today's calendar is by Senator Lombardi. Senate Bill 681, an act relating on highways, freeways. Senator Lombardi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this critical piece of judicial legislation anyone who solicits a ride in a motor vehicle or backs up on a freeway will no longer be guilty of a misdemeanor, and I move passage.
Senator Lombardi moves passage of the act. Is there a second? Second by Senator McCaffrey, Senator Goodwin, Senator Lombardo, Senator Chacon, Senator Felix, Senator Sosnowski, Senator Casada, Senator Lawson, Senator Mack, Senator Archibald, Senator Connell, Senator Bell, Senator Coyne, Senator 70, Senator Palmer, Senator Murray, Senator Anderson, Senator Archibald, Senator Casada. Discussion on the act. Hearing none, the clerk will please unlock the machine. If all members have recorded the vote, the clerk will lock the machine with 36 votes in the affirmative, none in the negative, and the act passes. That concludes today's calendar. We now revert to announcements and/or introductions. Chairman Felag.
An announcement, please, Mr.
Please
President.
proceed, Mr. Chairman.
The Finance Committee is now in full operation. We've been meeting 2 times a week. It looks like this week we'll be meeting 3 times. We'll be meeting at the Rise today, which is probably about in a half an hour. You can log in via your WebEx. And for planning purposes, we'll be meeting on Thursday at 3 p.m. Your prompt attendance is always greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Murray.
Thank you, Mr. President. For planning purposes, Special Legislation and Veterans Affairs will be meeting virtually tomorrow at 3:30.
Thank you, Senator Murray. Senator Mario.
Thank you, Mr. President. For planning purposes, the Environment and Agriculture Committee will be meeting tomorrow virtually at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Senator Mario. Senator Cano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Announcement.
Please proceed, Senator.
The Senate Education Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. via WebEx. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cano. Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Announcement.
Please proceed, Senator Coleman.
The Senate Committee on Housing and Municipal Government will be meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock by WebEx.
Thank you, Senator Coleman. Senator Sosnowski.
Announcement, Mr. President.
Please proceed, Senator.
The Senate Committee on Commerce will be meeting on Thursday at 5 p.m. via WebEx.
Thank you, Senator. Can we have a bit of order so we can all hear the announcements, please? Senator Archibald.
Thank you, Mr. President. Announcement, please.
Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Judiciary will be meeting on Thursday at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Archibald. Senator Chacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Labor Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 4:30.
Thank you, Senator Chacon. Further announcements. Hearing none. Senator Archibald, your light is on.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I've already had
Okay. Thank you. Is there any objection to transmitting adopted resolutions to the Honorable Secretary of State? All matters passed by the Senate to the Honorable House of Representatives, and all matters passed in concurrence to His Excellency the Governor. Hearing none, so ordered. The desk is now clear of business. I call on Whip Goodwin for the purpose of recess.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there's no further business to come before the Senate this afternoon, I move the Senate stand in recess.
Thanks, Senator Goodwin. Senator Goodwin moves that the Senate stands in recess. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. The Senate stands in recess.